Hey, what's going on, friends? I got the 2023 year-end market update for the entire state of Hawaii coming up for you next. Hey, what's going on, friends? Like I said in the intro, I got data from every single island, and we're going to run through the market update for the entire state of Hawaii and show you what's going on in terms of the number of sales and, more importantly, the number of listings. And at the end of this, I will let you know what my predictions are for 2024 and how this data affects it, because we're going to take some additional historical perspective and see what the numbers in 2023 were compared to not just the last couple of years, but all the way back to 2015, and what that's telling us about what the market is going to do going forward. So jumping right into the data here. I know it's a lot of numbers. I will walk through this and blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. But basically what this lays out is each island and then going across the number of sales in 2021, number of sales in 2022, the percentage change between 21 and 22, and then the number of sales in 23 and the percentage change between 23 and 21, because I think that's an important comparison to see just how far the market had come down in terms of the number of sales. And so these are total sales. And then the numbers below are number of listings in December of that year. So it's not total number of listings for the entire year, but just the number of listings in December, which is reflective of the number of listings on the market throughout the year. So it's kind of just a point in time that gives us a data point to understand what were listings doing at that time in that year, and then we'll make some comparisons and show you the percentage changes. So if we look at the island of Oahu, we started off at in 2021 with 12,000 sales. That was just crazy, off the charts, the busiest year that we've ever had, right? And if you look at 22, it fell to 10,000 sales, and then all the way down to 7,600 sales in 2023. Same is true of Hawaii Island, right? We had 7,000 sales in 21, 6,000 sales in 22, and 4,500 sales in 23. That was a decrease of 40% if you look at 21 to 23. And then on Maui, it was a decrease of 54%, right? So we went from 3,600 sales all the way down to 1,600 sales. And then in Kauai, same thing, 1,600 sales in 21, all the way down to 700 sales, a decrease of 56%. So overall, if you look at the state as a whole, we went from 25,000 sales in 21 all the way down to 14,000 sales, a 47% decrease in the number of properties that we're selling. This is not reflective of sales price, right? That's a separate issue, and the reality is sales price has not fallen in any of the markets across the board. It's just a matter of market activity. And so why did sales prices not fall? We have to look at the number of listings, the inventory, to get some data and figure out why that was the case. So if we look at the number of listings, and the frontline numbers are that the number of listings has increased, right? So that seems like it would be good news. If you look at Oahu, it was 1,800 listings, and then now it's 2,000 listings. On the Big Island, it was 1,492, almost 1,500. Today, it's just under 2,000. On Maui, it was 517. It's actually about the same right now, just 1% more, so 523. And then on Kauai, it was 272, and today it's 354. So Kauai had the greatest jump, and the Big Island had the greatest jump, 30% increases in the number of listings on the market in December of that year. So that's important. This is just 1 month, one point in time, how many listings are on the market. And so you would think, okay, that seems like good news, right? That the number of listings is increasing, and so that should provide more inventory. That may slow the market down. But if we look at this in historical perspective, and this is what's extremely important, is if we go back to 2015, and 2015 was very reflective of the decade prior to COVID, right? So if you go from 2010 all the way to 2019, that entire decade was pretty, these numbers are pretty reflective of that in terms of number of sales and number of listings at the end of any given month. And if we compare that in terms of number of sales, we were down, right? So if you look at 2015, 9,000 sales on Oahu, today 7,600, that's a decrease of 16%. The only island that was up was Hawaii Island, was up 6%, but a decrease of 25% on both on Maui, and then 29% on Kauai. So the market in 23 was significantly slower than a pretty stable normal market in 15. Nothing crazy was going on in 2015. But the kicker here, the big important takeaway, is the number of listings. If you look at the number of listings and the number that of homes and pieces of property that were on the market in 2015 versus today, it's dramatically different. And this is the issue. This has not changed, right? If you look at it in context over time, the last couple of years, it looks like inventory is going up, but it's not anywhere near where it used to be. So if you look on Oahu, there was 2,600 listings back in 15. There's only 2,000 today. On the Big Island, there was 4,200 listings. There's only 1,900 today. On Maui, there was 1,500. There's only 523 today. And on Kauai, there was almost 1,000, 945, and there's 1/3 of that, right? There was only 354 today. So there's an extreme lack of inventory and supply in the market. And even though demand has fallen, right? Demand has fallen across the board. You can look at the decrease in the number of homes that have sold. That hasn't affected price because there's such an extreme lack of inventory on the market. Inventory is such an important driver, right? In the supply and demand curve, as supply decreases and demand stays the same, prices go up. It's a basic economic model. But this is the main reason for prices being stable, and the main reason why going forward into 2024, I believe that the market will be very similar in terms of market activity. It's not going to change dramatically going into 2024. But what is going to happen is that interest rates, by all accounts, are going to come down a little bit, not dramatically, but a little bit. And what that's going to mean is that if inventory doesn't recover and inventory doesn't continue to go up and interest rates come down a little bit and then buyer demand increases, it's going to create another busy market where as more buyers enter the market, as more demand enters the market for that limited number of listings that has not changed in the last 3 years, it's going to create prices going up and it's going to create a competitive market going forward. So the takeaway for a buyer and a seller, we'll start on the buyer side first, is that you don't want to wait until that happens, right? This could happen first, second quarter, maybe third quarter of 2024. And if you wait for that, you're going to be in a much worse position like you were in 20 and 21 in terms of that competitive market to buy. So even though rates are a little bit higher now, you may be better off buying now and paying a little higher interest rate so you don't have to pay the increase in sales price and potentially pay over the list price because the market is competitive. And then on the sell side, it has always been, the last 3 years, there has been never a better market in history for a seller, right? Because of the low inventory, the competition you have as a seller is lower than it's ever been in history. And so if you want to put your house on the market, it's a great time because there's still demand, there's still sales happening in every single market. And if it's priced properly, we're still seeing multiple offer situations and a lot of demand for property. You have to still price it right though. You gotta, and at the end of the day, prices are as high as they've ever been, if not a little bit higher than they were a couple of years ago. So you didn't miss the boat, right? You didn't miss the peak of the market as a seller. You are still in a great position, especially because the lack of competition for your product on the market. So that's the big picture overall update for the state of Hawaii. If you have any questions, you can always email me at dylan@buybigisland.com or put them in the comments below. There's always a link to book a meeting if you want to talk about your situation specifically. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys next month with January's market report.